Powerwheels Body Redesign Part 6. I am drilling a hole for the taillights using a Christmas tree bit. So here I am tracing the plug and going to cut it out with a Dremel. So I will be running a sleeve over the wire for more protection. Electrical tape helps it guiding through. This heat shrink will help keep the sleeve in place. And let's shrink it with fire. Strip the wire and throw on the grommets. I'm crimping these connectors with needle nose. So first I crimp the bare wire, and then the second one I crimp the grommet with the outside of the wire. These clips only go in one way. And now I'm doing the same thing but with a male plug. I am drilling a hole for the nut insert. This will allow me to put a bolt through without needing a nut. Alright, so now I'm working on the dash. I'm making it to where there is an indentation so the dash will actually fall into place every single time. And as always, I am working with the grater to knock down all the high spots. And here's some more sanding with 80 grit. I'm roughly marking where I need to cut. So I'm installing the mesh to keep the birds from flying inside the hood. I've got to make my bends. So here I am using this steel strap to make tabs to hold in the mesh. So I cut down right down the middle. So I cut at every small hole and then make a snip towards the big hole to make this tab. It bends very easily and it holds its shape. Now it's time to make a lot more. I need to grind down all the sharp edges. So I'm roughly marking where this mesh is so then I know where to put the tabs. So I am using CA glue with activator to temporarily hold my tabs in place before I actually lay the fiberglass on top of it to make a good seal. I will be adding chopped fiberglass to the resin in order to make it much stronger. I'm using a popsicle stick to use the resin around the tabs. This is the rear bumper where there will also be a vent. I'm using a strainer because ever since I got a bad batch of gel coat, I've just been used to using the strainer to get any big chunks out of the way. This is just black pigment in order to get the color I want. So now I'm adding the hardener and also be adding a curing agent to help the gel coat cure. I'm using a disposable brush in order to get that textured look. Once this is cured, it acts as a bed liner. This is the main power wire to run the headlights. So this is a template for my ignition switch. I will be tracing and cutting it on the ABS. The heat gun will get it the curve that I need. As you can see, it got too hot that I had to use a screwdriver. I am using the self-tapping screws as a guide for my riv nuts. Placing this washer behind the plastic will make it very strong. Drilling the hole for the ignition switch. Once I've got the tabs through the mesh, I will be folding them down in order to hold down the mesh. This looks like a good spot for the voltmeter. And now it's time to cut it out. JB Weld plastic bonder epoxy in order to fill in the holes. Now it's time to drill the hole for the headlight switch. This is the headlight harness that I've made. I am gluing down the magnets to hold the cowl hood. I am gluing down these bolts to hold the wiring harness and the headlight brackets. This fiberglass cloth will hold all the screws down. I'm very careful not to put any resin on the bolts or else I'll have a hard time putting the nuts on. This will hold the magnets in place. I'm using these plastic wire clips. These are the headlight brackets. I've glued these washers to the dash and will be held in by those magnets. And there it is. Let me know what you think. I've got a lot more coming.